So concatenation has been in OpenBuildings for a while. It does go back a while. And it basically, it takes the part and family system and it allows to read multiple parts through the work set, the workspace, and the delivered data set. So it is a hierarchy. There is a configuration variable to turn it off. So basically, when you go to place a wall, it has parts in it, it's going to look to the work set definitions first. If there's anything there overriding it, it will ignore the workspace or the delivered data set. So these parts are stored in XML files that are those three different levels of the work set, workspace, and the data set, that it's reading all of them, but it will color code and let you actually see which one it is using. So here is a video that is showing the concatenation. So I am in a example project, and within the data set in the part and family editor, there's the three areas, the three folders. There's the data set, the workspace, and the work set. And then within there are XML files. So this is our training data set. We're using concatenation in our training data set. So you'll see there is a folder for structural parts in the data set and a folder for example structural in the training. Now you'll see that the concrete family is blue. That's because it's being overridden, and the red parts are being ignored because they're using, if I flip over to the parts in the work set, they're being used. So as a quick example, from the delivered data set, I can copy concrete curbs, then go into my family at the work set level, paste that in here, and I could be changing the color, the line style, or anything like that. But now when I go back to my delivered data set, that concrete curb is now red because it's not taking the symbology from that part. So that's basically how it all happens. It has to be the same family and part name, and then in a different location, and it will read from your work set first. And then when it comes to template parts at the data set or company level, just some tips. It's good not to have brick type 1, brick type 2 at the company level. You want to have more generic ones. And then when you're at your work set level is where you're going to be, not sure what type brick it's going to be. You might want to be adding different ones that you could be swapping back and forth. We're not covering compound family parts right now, but they do not concatenate. So that is just something to be aware of. It only works on individual parts for this concatenation system. And then at the project level, what I just showed in that little video, a lot of times, there's structural project parts, XML, that's where you're creating new parts or dragging and dropping parts from the delivered data set. So this is where your work set parts will be, and then you can be overriding symbology of your drawings for your particular project that's not affecting the data set and other people's projects. So you're in your own environment tweaking the levels, the colors, and line styles of your drawings. So before I do this one video, this is in a work set that's delivered with OpenBuildings. We have neutral metric and US training template. We have an example retail building. So they both do take advantage of concatenation if you want to go in and take a look at it. Basically, this is a section cut through some concrete elements. So we have columns, slabs, a beam, and a stair. Now, I'm pointing this out because this is a training data set, and the stair, typically in our delivered data set, we would have our parts organized by families based on like door or by stair, or concrete's a little different for structural, but it's most typically broken up by the catalog types in our groupings of building types. But in this case, Mary actually built this in the training data set, was a stair that rather than using a stair part, which would be family stair part concrete, she went in and created a duplicate stair, swapped out the family for concrete and the part for slabs. And what this would allow to do, it will allow it to unify with the floor slab and the slab above, that there wouldn't be a line there. So that is one method of the unifier only works between families, but there are other ways we can be looking at, having families that go between different types of object types. So you'll see here, there's a line at the top of the column to the stair. There's one at the bottom. And then up at the top, there's a beam. Now that beam is unified. So we'll be looking at, when we show this little animation, why is it doing that? Because it's pointing to a unifier. And so in this video coming up, we're going to go into the presentations of this drawing and just show that my cut was black. I'm going to change it just to show you we can override all the parts here using presentation of our drawings. I made it halftone, but I'm going to go back and make it to the default cut. It's going to look the same until I start changing colors, but now it's not doing any color overrides. I'm going to go into the family and part editor. I'm going to go in and create or turn on the drawing symbology. So here's my work set level. I have a unifier on the beam and a unifier on the slab. So if I go in and uncheck on the beam, uncheck section, you see it'll put a line between the slab and the beam. And now I check it back on, and my column, I'll go in and do the check, and then I will select what is the unifier part. So I'm doing concrete unifier. So now look at my column is now unifying between the slab, the beam, and the slab at the bottom. So you have that control. And then I could go in and be changing if I want to. I turned off the override of the color. I could be changing the color. So when you use a unifier, you are getting the symbology of the unifier. So I made the unifier red. So that means all the beams and slabs and columns in this particular case are going to be on the same level, which can be S slab or S concrete, but you have the ability to have them connect and unify together the way that you'd want in your drawings. And so we're going to look at how we can use concatenation to override the parts of delivered content. Basically, what we're going to do is copy and modify delivered parts. So this is just a great way to tweak it to your project. So in this next video that's coming up here, is all I'm going to do is, I'm placing a door, and you saw that the door frame was green. That's our delivered color of our door frame. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the part and family editor. I'm going to make a new XML file that my family goes into. So I'm calling it my project. So I think it's good to name these XML files something meaningful, because I steal parts and families between different work sets when I do my stuff. So I have this empty container called my project. I'm going into the delivered data set, copying the door family, and I'm going to put it in that XML file just with the paste. So now all of my doors are now going to be, if I modify anything, they'll be coming from my work set. Now I'm going to go in and just do a quick fix just to show. I'm changing that green panel to a color 5, a purple. So I'm overriding, I could be changing the level, the weights, anything like that. Save the data set. Now, sometimes you do need to get out of the program and get back in for it to read the change, because it's embedded inside of this door, the data group door. But now when I go in to select the place door, look what happens. That my door leaf is now purple because it's pulling that symbology from my work set level. So it's that quick and easy. And what's great about this is that is doing it to all the doors that's in your project. Okay, so all those same, if you go in and tweak them, you could be overriding all of them at once.
And Mark, that would work great for rendering materials as well, if you wanted to change the material on your doors.
Exactly. It's very powerful and fast.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.